Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by Fully Funded Life, and I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Megan Hibbert. Are you fired up today?
Fired up.
Yes, it's episode number what?
197.
197. We are here and dedicated to helping you advance in your money journey. Every single week, like to come at you with some right now relevant, some R&R, some right now relevant information to help you make progress towards those dreams that comprise your fully funded life. And we're always powered by your success stories. That's how this podcast gets its energy and its fuel, is hearing about your success. So tell everybody what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. So today we're talking about kids and bank accounts. So we're going to focus on another series, so kids and money. And after all, children grow up and are faced with all kind of financial challenges, and we have the joy of experiencing. So today's topic focuses on kids and bank accounts. So this is going to be helpful to those of you who have children or planning to have children, or even if you have grandbabies, or maybe you know someone that has kids.
Yes.
Or there's just kids.
It's just kids and bank accounts. Yes. And maybe the neighbor kids. I don't know if they keep coming in and eating all of your food. You could teach them about bank accounts. It is very important they learn about it. You know, we all as adults have the joy of experiencing these. We need to make sure kids learn about this stuff in a in a very relevant and helpful manner. And so we're going to talk about that today. It's going to be a good conversation. I love these series. You liking the series?
Yeah.
The different series? Mm-hmm. Kids and money. Speaking of children, you have one children on the ground and two that are kind of floating right now. So tell everybody the update.
They go with me everywhere.
This podcast is releasing April 11th.
April 11th, yes.
And the due date is approximately?
So technically my due date is April 30th.
Okay.
But it's not really.
Okay.
So they won't let me go past the 16th of April.
Okay. So you may or may not have babies in your arms by this time, when this podcast releases.
Wild.
And so we're recording these a little bit early, trying to make sure that you hear the voice, the sweet voice of Megan Hibbert every week as much as possible. We will have some guests along the way because I'm not sure we're going to be able to plan out all the way for the maternity leave that you're planning to take. But we're fired up for that. Yeah. Everything's going good?
Yeah, it's going good.
Awesome. And so you had a baby shower this last weekend that I got to go to.
I did.
Saw a lot of your friends and met all your friends and your parents.
So fun.
And your husband's mom. And that was awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of like a wedding when you have like all your different like groups of people in the same place. It just is like it's a wild moment.
It is a wild moment. It is a really wild moment. I totally agree because it's like, this is this part of my life. Yeah. This is this compartment of my life. And this is this compartment. And somebody opened all the compartments.
And they're intermingling.
And they're in my house. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I got to see your guys' boat. Yep. From time to time, everybody has heard about you and Jordan's boat, the jet boat. And I got to see it, and he loves his boat, you can tell, and he takes excellent care of it.
He does love that.
He needs to come give me lessons for my boat.
Parks in the garage.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
So before we dive into our content of kids and bank accounts, let's dive into that unbelievable section of the podcast. You know what time it is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
The Monday Money Tip Podcast is sponsored by the Fully Funded Life Membership Program. The Fully Funded Life Membership Program provides all you need to begin winning with money and live a fully funded life. Fully Funded Life includes 4 key components: courses, challenges, coaching, and community. Courses provide financial education. Challenges help you make massive progress in a specific money skill. Coaching is provided by the Fully Funded Life Certified Coaches through open office hours held multiple times each month. All of the courses, challenges, and coaching results in an outstanding community that help equip, motivate, and encourage you to take your next financial steps toward your fully funded life. Fully Funded Life, courses, challenges, coaching, community. All that's missing is you. Learn more and receive a special offer for Monday Money Tip listeners today at fullyfunded.life/MMT. That's www.fullyfunded.life/MMT. Well, for today's current money events section, I am going to talk about an announcement. I'm making a major announcement.
Oh, yeah.
You ready?
Are you?
Inflation is here. I don't know if anybody noticed that.
I don't know.
But I have an article
If you haven't noticed it.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed it, it means you have not been spending money. Congratulations. But the title of this article that I found, and we'll have a link to it in the show notes, is As Inflation Heats Up, 64% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I found that humorous because we've kind of averaged around 70% anyhow.
Yeah.
So I don't know, are they saying inflation helped us?
I'm not
lowered
sure
it by
how
6%?
It could have helped.
What it really says is this is where Americans are. I think it's a misleading title. I think news articles, for some reason, sometimes have misleading article titles. Did you know this? Okay. So what it's saying, they're now. Well, let me tell you, they were as well, and they will be if they don't change their money behavior. And here's some lines, though, that I found from the article that I felt was really good. One of them is, while wage growth is high by historical standards, it isn't keeping up with the increased cost of living, which is growing at the fastest annual pace in about 4 decades.
Wow.
That's 40 years. And many of us who have parents who lived in that time frame, who were adulting already, that's the word, right?
Adulting,
yeah,
it is.
I love all these shirts that say I'm tired of adulting and all that stuff. But, when you're a kid, you can't wait to be an adult. It's the weirdest thing. It just shows human nature. We just can't tolerate where we're at right now. We just need to be somewhere else. I also saw a cow with his head stuck through a bunch of barbed wire fence again, eating the grass on the other side of the fence. It's
greener.
just human behavior. It was greener as well. So it was greener. But it says, it's the fastest annual pace in 4 decades. And our parents who grew up in this, remember 16 and 17% mortgage interest rates? That's crazy. And maybe we're headed back there. I don't know. But it's a challenge, no doubt about it. Here's another line from a Bankrate.com senior economic analyst, Mark Hamrick, who said, wages are up 5.1% over the past year, which is trailing the pace of inflation. Indeed, surging prices are stealing the show on the minds of consumers. So it's getting the attention. Dollar Tree is now multiple Dollar Tree.
Yeah, it's like $1.25 now.
Yeah, and Dollar General is like it's Dollars General now. It needs to be renamed.
It does need to be renamed.
Yeah. And when wages rise, another line, when wages rise at a slower pace than inflation, those paychecks won't go as far at the grocery store and at the gas pump, 2 areas of the budget that are getting particularly squeezed.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I ordered groceries yesterday and noticed it was more expensive.
Yeah.
And they also didn't have, my poor Instacart guy. He was like, hey, they don't have this. What do you want? Hey, they don't have this. What do you want? And it felt like every 5 minutes he was like,
wow,
they don't have this. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
It was like shortages galore.
Wow. And I will tell you, I have a truck with a 33-gallon tank.
I'm sure that feels nice, filling it up.
Can I get a loan? It'd be awesome. At the start of 2022, another line from the article, 64% of the U.S. population was living paycheck to paycheck, up from 61% in December, and just high of the 65% in 2020, according to a Lending Club report.
Lending Club.
Wow, so that's their data.
They have their own club.
That all seems within the range of margin of error, but I don't know. Here's something from Anuj Nayar, Lending Club's financial health officer. We are all seeing the cost of everything shooting up. However, paying more for gas and groceries is hitting households particularly hard, he said. You've got to eat. You've got to commute. These are not discretionary expenses. That's right. And good line. And here's another line. Even among those earning 6 figures, 6 figures, 6 to the left of the decimal, 48% said they are now living paycheck to paycheck.
Ooh.
Up from 42% in December, the survey of more than 2,600 adults find. Which I'm sure everyone who is in our listening audience says, those poor 6-figure wage earners who are living paycheck to paycheck, I will start sobbing for you now.
Seriously.
Mourning in sack. But here is the fact. One of the biggest sackcloth. Yeah, I wanted to do that. That's a King James Version reference here. Ashes and sackcloth. But here's the thing. It depends on where you live. Because if you live in New York City or you live in San Francisco and you make $100,000 even, you're like low income.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is very crazy.
And so this is why this big advent of people moving out of the cities, primarily to the southeast. If you watch population metrics, it's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. All of the other areas of the country experienced decreases, and the Southeast just exploded. And what it really says is that they moved and they changed their cost of living, but they kept the salary.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to go back because they realize their spending power. So it's something really huge. This is a CNBC article. I listen to CNBC nearly every day. I find them to be wildly helpful in talking about investing and business and personal finances and money stuff. And so we'll have a link to that article. I think it's interesting. We're going to talk in an upcoming episode about what to do with inflation. I think it's really important that we talk about that. How do you manage during times of high inflation? We're going to talk about that. That stuff's important. The first thing, though, is to recognize that it is happening and it is coming to your household if you've not experienced it already. So that's it for today's current money events section.
Perfect. All right. Today, our success story is a win from one of our fully funded life couples who just experienced, after making their first easy budget. So that's their budget equaled exactly zero, trademark.
Golf clap.
Yeah. So they said, we just completed our first month's budget and didn't realize what we were spending all of our money on until we completed that. Definitely an eye-opener. We had all of our savings already built for 1 month and 3, as well as the retirement accounts set up prior to starting the program. We saved over $1,000 by just using the budget every day and watching where our money was going. Thank you so much, amazing tools. Thank you for such amazing tools. There we go. In my head, they just say
in your
thank
head, you knew they were going to say thank you so much, but it says thank you for such amazing tools. I think that's awesome.
It's just one of those things your brain just reads what it
who
thinks.
wrote this? But it is a fully funded life member.
Yep.
And we're super excited about that. And, I think if you look back in your money journey, I don't know if you celebrate wins at the level of your first financial win. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the first time that you go skiing. It's like so amazing when you can actually ski. Mm-hmm. It's like this joy, the first time that you ski on powder. And it's like, this is unbelievable. Have you heard about skiing on powder? And everybody's like, well, yes, we live here. We've skied on powder multiple times a year. That's actually why we're here. We watch the forecast. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have the choice of that. I have to fly to get here. So here's what I would say. The people experience that when they experience a win by using a budget the first time. Like if they've been misbehaving with money a lot, like I remember misbehaving with money, it is stunning when you find out how powerful having an exactly zero planned budget, how much it helps you. And like you and Jordan have lived by an easy budget philosophy for how long?
My whole marriage.
The whole marriage. Did you hear that? Our whole marriage. So there's others who are listening who are like, we have had a whole marriage and we've never done that. Yeah. So that's a huge win. And it's almost so common to you that it's mundane. Mm-hmm. But if you were to sit down, and you have sat down, I think, with some friends with their budget and seen craziness right in front of you, like, does that cause you special feelings of?
Special feelings, yeah. Well, and you just see people like a lot of people will be like, oh, I can't budget, or I'm living paycheck to paycheck, or I can't make ends meet, or I don't know how I'm ever going to do this. But then they walk in with like new shoes and new outfits and new this or new that or new like purse, or we bought a new computer and all these stuff. And they're like, this is why you can't do it, because you're spending your money on other things.
You know, I think that's a great point. As a financial coach, I don't know if I notice that as much as some do. I think I've had some coaches who said, you're sitting here telling me that you can't afford to invest some money, not get your company match. Yeah, I'm looking at your fingernails and you didn't do that. Yeah. And I'm looking at your phone and that's a $1,300 phone. And I'm looking at my phone and I have a flip phone because some of our coaches have flip phones. Mm-hmm. And I think that they're much more observant than I am. Because for me, hey, if you like the fingernails done and you like the $1,300 iPhone, giddy up. But you better have a budget that makes sure that that isn't robbing you of doing the other more important things for the future. So for me, that's my spender mentality. Mm-hmm. And I think the blend between the two is very good. But I'm so excited that these members have been, I love it says we, because it means they are collaborating together. And they saved $1,000 already. And they've already built their savings for 1 month and for 3 months. They already had that. So, and they already had the retirement account set up. I get it. I didn't listen to that quite as good as I should have, but they actually had a budget. So they were doing a lot of really good things. Yeah. The budget is just taking them to another level.
Right.
And that's what I love is that fully funded life is not just for people that are all totally broke. It's for people in every part of their financial journey. Because I love to talk about investing and all that stuff too. That's true. So it's great. Congratulations.
Yep. All right. So today we're going to focus on another series like discuss from time to time. So kids and money. So after all, children grow up and we all faced like the financial challenges that we've had. So all these challenges that we've had, we are experiencing as adults, but how do we teach our kids about them as they're growing up? So today we're going to focus on kids and bank accounts. So it's going to be helpful if you have kids, planning to have kids, or if you have grandkids or neighbor kids, whoever kids.
That's awesome.
Any kids you got.
Yeah, that's right. Kids and bank accounts. So let me ask a question. True or false? I'm going to let you answer this. True or false? Children grow up by 1 day each and every day. True. Now, even when my 8-year-old seems to act like a 2-year-old occasionally, right? I like, did you go in reverse? But she grew up. She's getting taller. True or false, Megan? Children grow up to become adults.
True.
Don't start crying here. True or false? Children grow up to become adults who must deal with financial stuff.
True.
Yeah, these are all true. So if the answer to all these questions is true, then isn't it important for us to teach and train them on the basics of money management while they are still in the household? Yeah. And so let me tell you a story time. Story time with Joe. Cue the music. All right. So I remember a time in my life when I went to college. Now, I remember applying to one college. I got accepted 7 days later, Purdue University, the Boilermakers. And I show up there, and I know absolutely nothing about money. My twin brother was like, how are you going to pay to live on campus? I don't know. I'll join the Army if I have to. I ended up dating Sally Mae. And the funny thing is my twin brother stayed at home and he joined the Army. I think that's funny. But anyhow, I go there. I get dropped off by my mom and my twin brother. And I remember my mom said, you need a bank account. And I was like, oh. And that's the first time I ever heard about me needing a bank account. So we found Bank One, which became J.P. Morgan Chase Bank One, something. It was one of those predecessors of that line of banks. And I went in there and I got a bank account for Purdue University students. You didn't have to have hardly any money. I don't remember the exact amount, but I had very little money and they gave me a bank account. So I know I was able to open an account. And they gave me the first beginner set of book checks. And I was like, oh, I have a bank account now. And I remember the very next day, I went down and bought a tennis racket. And I bought this tennis racket with a check because I didn't have credit cards. And I filled out the check, first time ever filling out a check, and promptly turned it over and endorsed it and handed it to the guy. And he's like, did you just sign this check? And I realized that is the only thing I'd ever done with a check was sign a check to cash it. And that's how little I knew about bank accounts. So I might be a little passionate about this. And so I realized in that moment, there were probably some basic lessons I could have learned in the household about bank accounts, about money management. And so fast forward to having a daughter, and she's almost 15 years old. And I don't know quite where I got this idea, but I had this idea that said, daughter, I want you to learn about money while you're in the household. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of create a bank account at the household level. And I'm going to have you do research on everything that clothes cost you, Christmas gifts, birthday gifts. She was a runner, so she was burning through a lot of shoes. When you're running 30 to 50 miles a week, you burn through a lot of shoes. And it was like, hey, I want you to look at all of that. And we're going to divide it by 12, and I'm going to pay it to you every month. And to do that, to get the money, Now, the first month, we started with just a budget. She put together a budget. You got to give, save, invest, plan the rest. Have you ever heard of that before?
I have.
GSI PTR. Give, save, invest, plan the rest. Well, here's the deal. The next month, well, we had a budget. We could review how she did. And she had to present a budget for the next month because every month is different. I'm trying to teach her this. And I remember I started this for her in October 2014. She was almost 15 years old. And it was really incredible for her to learn, but it was also very mechanical and very visual because it was in the household with real dollars. Like literally she had our app. Remember our app? We haven't updated it in 8 years. Don't go look at our I Was Broke Now I'm Not app. But
it's on the list.
The iPhone kept changing and we couldn't keep up with it. None of us around here know that. But one day, we're going to have the app again on my birthday. I don't know which birthday, but one of my birthdays, I'll have it. But I made her use that app and she would present her budget. We would talk about it, learning lessons. What did you learn? All this stuff and give her more money. Right. And when Christmas came around, no money. She had to use her money. Birthdays came around, she had to use her money. Clothing purchases. And I found that it caused her behavior to change. That she would go to Goodwill. She would go to the thrift store, the consignment stores. In fact, she knows all of them in town right now because of that. And so when she turned 18 years old, even though she was still in high school, she took that day off and went straight to the bank and opened her very own bank account. And she applied for a credit card and was approved. So that's amazing, a student card. So I wanted to just teach about this fact of kids and bank accounts because it is a fundamental part of money journey. So how often do you check your bank account? Like how often do you look at it? Talk to me about that.
I mean, right now I don't, not very often because Jordan monitors it. And
so Jordan is the daily bill payer?
Yeah. So he pays the bills. He's in there daily. He's, if we need to move money around, he's moving the money around. And I get the email. So I know, like, our automatic deposits, I know they're going in each month. Or, like, when he moves money around, I know what's happening.
He moves money around. So does that mean from one bank account to another?
So, like, if we have the credit card, he'll move money from Ally from the certain accounts into one and then move it all into our...
To pay off the credit card. Yeah. Okay. So you have an Ally savings account and checking account or just savings?
We have a savings and then money market.
Yeah.
But the money market is like,
it's nothing these days.
Yeah.
But here's what I would just say. When did you get your first bank account? Do you remember your first bank account?
1994.
How old were you? Well, now you're going to reveal your age. What were you in high school or were you in college?
I'm like, let me do the math.
Because I was 20. Don't tell me. It's going to make me feel really old.
Yeah, I was 6.
You were 6 and got a bank account?
Well, I think it was like a
custodial bank account. But you got one. Yeah. Do you remember it?
I think the main reason I remember is because so it started out as First Union that went to Wachovia, that went to Wells Fargo. But I remember on my card it said member since 1994. And I always thought that was so cool.
That is cool.
But I mean, I would get money for doing chores, or like as I got a little bit older, I would babysit, or, if a neighbor needed me to watch an animal while they were gone, or like stuff like that. Like I would do little things like that and make money.
Get Christmas money, birthday money.
Yeah, Christmas, birthday, like that kind of stuff. And so my parents taught me from an early age, like, we save.
So here's something that's really important. So I shared an example with my daughter that it was like, hey, I'm paying for certain living expenses.
Yeah.
We're going to just divide that by 12 and let you be responsible for it. So it wasn't chores. It wasn't merit-based. It was, hey, I'm responsible for raising you at least age 18. Here's some money. I want you to learn money responsibility.
Yeah.
We also would compensate for special chores.
Yeah.
Right? Like cleaning your bedroom at age 15. I'm not compensating you for that, right?
It's just what you do.
But it's just you're going to do that as part of the household. So you are earning money for doing stuff and putting money in there. And then you also get money that's not merited. It's your birthday, you get money. So you do want to teach them that you work, you get paid money. You don't work, you don't get paid money. But here's what I found. That there was a cause and effect. Something caused money to flow to the child put money somewhere, right? So what I have found, and I've discovered this, and I'm earlier on in using it, but I have friends who've used it a lot, is somebody took my great idea that I had with my one child and realized that every parent probably would like this for their children, and they created it into technology.
It's great.
And I am fired up about it. And it is called Greenlight. Now, Greenlight is not sponsoring this, but Greenlight is a unbelievable app on your phone, and it allows you to set chores for your kids, weekly chores or one-time chores. You can tie money to it. It ties, if they have an iPhone or any phone with an app or any device with an app, and they don't have to have internet as far as cell phone access or a number. They can have their own login and password, and they get the receiving end of it, and they can manage their money. They can prepare a budget. They can earn money. They can report how they did on their chores, and parents can look at it, and you can even like tie it to technology time, how much technology time you get. And the child actually can get a debit card. It's a prepaid debit card. I think MasterCard is the logo that's on it. And so I've got one for each of my 2 kids still in the house. And I customized them. So I'm a sucker. I'm a parent. I paid $9.99 to customize them with a photo on it. But what I love about it is you can pay up for it. It's got a monthly fee. I think you can start for like $2.99 a month, but you can pay like $4.99 a month. And you can set it up for more than one kid, which I love. And they can also invest.
Oh, wow.
So it allows them, you can do it teaches the exact same plan we do, which is give, save, invest, plan the rest. And so I encourage parents who have children in the household to really check out Greenlight. There's an unbelievable number of YouTube videos and videos at Greenlight on how it works and instructions on it. And there are competitors to it. I think Chase has a competitor. But I have found this has quickly become the dominant one. And I've seen other parents facilitating money management conversations with their kids using the app, and it makes it digital in means. So it makes it much easier than just putting dollars and cents in front of kids. And so I just wanted to share that with everybody to check out Greenlight.
That's cool.
Because ultimately, when you think about bank accounts and kids, you want them to recognize what a bank account is, that it holds your money, and that they take that money from your bank account and lend it, and they make money on what's known as the spread.
Yeah.
Right? So you get paid none interest, and they get paid 3% interest, and they get 3% to pay their people and to put profits for their shareholders. That's how banking works. But it's hard if you have a file drawer in the office and you open it up and put money in it and close it and say, well, this file drawer is the bank, right? And this particular file is your bank account. Well, the kid's like, well, it looks like a file cabinet to me, right? So I think it helps kids who are digital natives.
Yeah.
I love this term, digital natives. They never have not known a time when it's not digital.
Yep.
You're close to being a digital native. I had to learn on the fly. But Logan is a digital native. Is he good on a smartphone?
Yeah, I think he can he's figuring out how to open our phones with the code, which probably was not smart for me to tell him the codes. But and then he can navigate in the phone. He knows how to find I have the PBS Kids app on my phone. He knows how to find that so he can watch something. Or he really loves photos. So he loves looking at photos, particularly of himself.
Oh, that's really awesome. Well, that's human nature.
And he knows how to find those and swipe, and text message comes in and he swipes it up. It's I don't want that. And
so he's never going to know a time when things are not digital.
Right.
And I think this is why young people, by and large, are the first investors in crypto and Bitcoin and all that stuff. It's because it's normal for them. And so I encourage you, parents, grandparents, Greenlight gives you as parent or grandparent full control of the dollars. You can set spending limits. You can set stores they can buy and stores they cannot buy at. It automatically has parental controls that make sure certain types of purchases don't happen, like casinos and, things like that. Yeah. It just totally has them blocked, that classification of transaction. And so I encourage you, parents, grandparents, start teaching your kids about bank accounts in the household. That way, when they go to college, they don't write a check and flip it over and endorse it. So that's what I'm going to call this episode. Get your kids familiar with bank accounts so they don't write a check and flip it over and endorse it. Episode. Do you like that?
I'm also pretty confident that most kids will not be writing checks.
Yes, the 90s called and they wanted their checkbook back.
But maybe,
and their fax machine.
Maybe. All right. Our verse for today is Proverbs 22:6, and it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, even when he is old, he will not depart from it."
That's right. It says, even when he is old, he will not depart from it. And so that's what we're doing. We're training up these kiddos. And I just throw in my one sideline. This is my dig. One reason we want our kids to be excellent with money is so they don't keep coming back as adults demanding more. It's very, very important. Okay? We want to help them, but we want it to be a blessing to them. Right?
And then they go.
Yeah. Train a child the way they should go. Emphasis added by me. So tell everybody what we're going to talk about next week.
Yes. So next week, we're going to do another money lie. And the money lie next week is I have plenty of time. So maybe you've said this. Maybe somebody you know have said this. Oh, I have plenty of time. I don't need to invest. I have plenty of time. I don't need to do my company match. Like, I have plenty of time. I don't need to save for my kids' college. I have plenty of time. I don't need to budget. Like, all these things we say we have plenty of time, but do you really have plenty of time?
That's awesome. Can't wait. That's going to be a fun one. We're actually going to pull out the calculator and have it on the screen. It'll be a great one for YouTube. Hey, if you watch this on YouTube, you can click the thumbs up or the thumbs down if you don't like it. And if you have alternatives to Greenlight that you use and like, you can share that. Or if you like Greenlight, tell us what your favorite feature of it is. That would be awesome. And also click the subscribe button while you're there. And if you like today's episode, you can help us get this podcast to other people who could benefit. You do it by quickly rating the podcast, leaving your review. That helps all the algorithms get this podcast exposed to more people so we can help them win with their money too and live a fully funded life. And again, if you've implemented successfully one of our tips, share that success story with us by emailing it to us at info@iwbnin.com or by commenting on any of our number of social media outlets. Until then, have a great week, and we will see you next Monday where we'll combat another money lie. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.